Hello everyone and welcome to the Trickle Down Inn. This is a two-layered dungeon starting in the tavern and ending in this catastrophe of a dungeon. It's the first in a build of the month I'm doing with WarLock Tiles, so I'm only pretty much using WarLock Tiles, and in this it's going to give you an idea what you can build and maybe give you an idea for an adventure of your own. So welcome to the inn. Now you'll see there's been a few build tricks that I've used here. For instance, at the back here, I've actually just used two of these inside corner pieces because I didn't have any quite enough walls, and they actually are quite useful for moving the tavern around. The adventure starts at the door. You go in, there's a small porch area for you to dry off, and then you're into the tavern. Now the main part of this tavern is split into a few areas. You've got one group of people over here. You have sort of maybe a rowdier bunch of people in the back here drinking. You have a locked bedroom area, which I'm assuming would probably be the bar staff's quarters. And then yes, you have the bar area and the storeroom. Now, eagle-eyed players will notice there is a trap door in the back corner here of the store cupboard. But you're not just going to be waltzing in there, you need to somehow get there. And that is where it starts to become sort of an interactive part. Now you can add a game that you need to play with the locals. Maybe a passive player will just overhear the right saying. And that's where you need to go and talk to the person behind the bar. Now, they won't just ask you straight up for a drink, they will ask you a very specific question before any normal conversation arises. They will ask you, what sort of shape are you in? Now, if you respond correctly using the circle in a sentence, they will then respond to you saying, the circle is with us all. And at that point, they will allow you to come behind and come into the storeroom. Now, of course, maybe you could annoy a drunk or something like that when you're trying to find the information out, but otherwise, this top layer is mostly for sort of a distraction, trying to maybe let the players talk to the people before they venture down. So it's not massively important. But you could still spend some good time there, maybe picking up some information, or maybe having to somehow pay someone for information, or, you know, play a dice game with a local to get the information. All of that is possible on this top layer, depending on what you want to do. Then we can slide that out the way, and then when you've gone through the trap door, you get to the meat of the adventure. Now, just to show you, I've put all of this on a whiteboard. It's going to be coming in multiple sections. And the reason for that is that it's built, especially because of this double wall area, it's built so that not all of the board is instantly on the table for players to see. You know, it gives some form of surprise. And this is the only leftover tile, so you could, you know, add a little bit somewhere if you wanted to, but otherwise every other tile is used from Dungeon Tiles 1 and Town and Village 1. So when you come down the staircase, where are you? Now this is probably like with the trapdoor. This is where technically players could, if they or DMs if they wish, they could start substituting stuff out. So for instance, I've got this spiral staircase here, or I could be using the wooden staircase or ladders. And that is where you could start substituting if you didn't have that set, or you just like the look slightly. So coming down from the trapdoor leads you into this area. Now, as you'll see, this part's not walled. It should be, but trying to stick with just the two base sets and the expansion pack didn't allow this area to be walled, but I still wanted a bit of a corridor. Now, you're going to be coming along. I've just put the statue there for a bit of flair on the walk there, and you're going to come across this very spiked object that I can never remember the name of, and an entrance to another room. Now players can do a strength check to lift this out the way, and in fact they will have to at some point. However, they may wish to go into this room first and basically take out the baddies. Now, in this room, it's got some general junk laying around, and I've just put in a giant spider and some animated armour. You could substitute any of the miniatures in this for something that fits your theme, but effectively, you've got this sort of small room where either you'll go into and fight them first, or if they overhear you moving the object to get past, they will come out and fight you. So either way, you're going to have to take them on, and there's a treasure chest in the corner that maybe some players can find rubies in or something else. Now, if they venture further on, they get to the main part. So this would clip into the bottom there, which it's not going to now, of course. There we go, like so. And then you've come along the corridor, moving the spiked object out the way. And then you get to this area here. Now, players could go through either door. They go through either door, it doesn't matter, you're going to get to the central room. But what I wanted to make sure, and why I've done this sort of slightly odd design and not using interior walls, is I didn't want people to see what's in the middle straight away. So obviously as DMs you'd know what's coming next, but this is where players can find something that's not necessarily too good. So they go through a door. Now if I link it up nicely, this fits perfectly inside with a few extra bits that just sit around the edge. Now this is an unfortunate bit about the summoning circle. It does mean that things don't clip in the edge, but that is the circle that we were talking about when we're talking to the person behind the bar. We've got some minis. Now I would like to summon this huge, I can never quite pronounce it, the Naparabuo or something like that. That's what's being summoned, and players can take that out, and you know, maybe you're spawning a Moor instead. Something evil, something that, you know, players are going to have to take out, but depending on your challenge rating, you can swap that in or out. So you might be thinking, what is the point of this area if, you know, it's only 2 different ways to get in? Well, that's because if they do explore around the back here, you can start to say that you hear some scraping from the other side of the wall. And if you noticed when I moved this, these 2 wall pieces are not attached, and that is because, if I just slide this down a little bit, if they have a good perception or checks and they pass it, then you can slide this in, and this is where the, there we go, slide that in. This is where you just swap out those 2 walls, put that down, and then this is the wall door that you can get in the Doors and Archways WarLock Tiles set. It has to be used at some point, you know, this idea of this wall. Let's just try and show that a little bit clearer, up a little bit, there we go. You know, it just spins around. It's on a clear base, so you can see through, which I like and I don't like. You can still see the tiles below, and that is where you're going to have access to this back room. So this little back room is where you're going to find this character here, and just a tiny little room. Basically he's been trapped there as a bit of a prisoner, and you can free him or, you know, do with him as you wish. Now this is where I think it could be interesting, because, you know, it, again, doesn't have to be this mini, but this guy's carrying a book, and if you are interested in D&D, you might know that the new D&D book coming out is Candlekeep Mysteries, and each of those revolves around a book. Now this could be the offset. This book could be one of those mysteries that he gives to you as a treat for rescuing him. It could even be, if you defeat this man in his special lair at the back here, you take the book, or you just use the book to get into Candlekeep, and that's where that mystery starts. So you could use this even as a start to Candlekeep. And I just thought that was a nice little extra touch because I really wanted to use that special doorway basically. But there you have it. You have, a good use for the circle, something being summoned, some people summoning. You've got some animated armour. You've got, bits that aren't there at the start. It doesn't perfectly lift out, but, with this wall section, the double wall, it fills the inch gap each side, so it fits in nicely. So people don't instantly see this, the summoning circle as soon as you put the board down. Yeah, you could do it slightly differently and have it so that it's always there and use less exterior walls and use the interior walls for it. But I just, even swap out some tiles in and out there. I just thought it was an interesting way, a different way of using the WarLock tiles, actually having them as a double thickness. And the doorways, you can just pop them open from both sides, and that is, you can show that you can enter all the way through, and it's just kind of a special walkway. And so again, apart from the single last 2x2 inch tile, I have used for this build the entire all floor tiles, including the larger floor tiles from Dungeon Tiles 1, Town and Village 1, and then I've used additional walls from the expansion pack 1. Some of the added extras, like the summoning circle, you could get away with that not being there, but you'd have to just slightly redesign to get less to the tiles for that central room. This extra room at the back, you could remove that if you wanted to just have that there. And yeah, then like the doorway, you could easily just actually have that as, you just say, okay, that bit of wall moves back and opens up and you find this special secret room. But having that door just looks quite nice. So there we have it. You start in the tavern and you can expand that area if you want, and then you slowly make your way through to the summoning circle and even the secret room at the back. It's just a fun little one. Maybe you could run it as a one-shot, or like I said, you could use it as the start of the Candlekeep Mysteries. Those are it sounds like they are perfect for just slotting in that, find that book on a bookshelf or in this guy's hand or whatever, and just start from there. So it could be a way to start one of those with your group, just an added extra that they just were at the tavern and they'd heard some rumours and then they went down. You could be freeing the guy, you could be killing him, and you could change all of the minis here. You don't have to use the exact ones. It's just an idea for you. Let me know what you think. Is this design, what do you think of the design? And what do you think of the format of the video? I want to do more of these in the future. And what parts helped, what parts didn't? What would you like to see from other ones, future builds? I'll put or as much of the information as I can in the description box below in terms of what I've used, but I've tried to be fairly honest in terms of, yes, I've used some bits from other sets in terms of, this is the dungeon dressing or this is the summoning circle. And most of those, though, you could get away with using something else if you've just got a core set. But that's basically what you can build with 2 of the core sets and that expansion. The expansion obviously doesn't add floor tiles, just some extra walls. So if you're happy, you could have, used less walls and got away with it. If you're interested in seeing more, make sure you subscribe. Please share this as well. The more people that see this, enjoy it, and viewing figures and all that, the more likely I'm to do another one sooner. But at the moment, I'm planning on doing maybe one of these a month. So stick around for that. Check out the other WarLock tiles and D&D stuff, and even board game stuff on the channel. And I'm Oliver East, signing out.